Some scientists and UN policymakers predict that we have only 60 years left before we run out of topsoil, because 1/3 to 1/2 of all Earth's topsoil has already been lost just in the last 150 years. Now, most of the world's agricultural land suffers from severe erosion. We need topsoil, though, to grow food. At the beginning of this erosion desertification equation is deforestation. And the majority of deforestation can be blamed squarely on animal agriculture. In fact, less than 2% of all crops grown worldwide are with organic methods for direct human consumption. Soil is the Earth's fragile skin that supports all life on Earth. Within soil, you'll find countless species that create a complex ecosystem. Animal agriculture is the single largest contributor to soil damage and loss by way of converting forests and grasslands to farm fields and pastures. In addition to erosion, though, soil quality is affected by other aspects of animal agriculture, including many negative aspects by way of grazing. These impacts, regardless of what you've heard, these impacts include compaction, loss of soil structure, nutrient degradation, and soil salinity. You know, just one small teaspoon of soil will contain more living organisms than we have people in the world. Soil is at the center of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals because food security, or water scarcity, biodiversity loss, and human health threats are closely linked to or dependent upon soil biodiversity. The International Union of Soil Science declared the years from 2015 to 2024 as the International Decade of Soils, which is a great effort to save one of our most precious resources, although it's not working. This is their informational poster, which cleverly displays at the bottom within the roots of the plant what they consider to be solutions for the soil degradation crisis. The solutions such as, let me see if I can read a few of these. Solutions such as only bury the trash that cannot be recycled. Okay. And walk different places so that soil is not compact. Yeah, good thoughts, but interesting and not surprising that I don't see here anywhere on their poster or anywhere else in their documents or website that there's not one mention about the number one cause of soil erosion and degradation, which is animal agriculture. So why wouldn't their number one solution in the roots on that poster be to stop eating animals? So I know someone out there will ask, I can't hear you in the audience from where I'm at, but I know you'll ask, well, why don't we just grow more topsoil, in large test tubes or expensive reactors, similar to how we're going to grow more meat in the future that we'll talk about on Tuesday, right? Or hey, maybe we could make more soil with a new app on my smartphone. Yeah, we have technology to do that, don't we? Well, we do have a way to grow more soil. It's called nature, but in most scenarios, it requires up to 500 years just to grow 1 inch of topsoil. We're going to talk a little bit more about this again in my presentation on Tuesday, and a quicker way to grow topsoil in terms of restoring desertified areas. Well, this is how much land is being used to raise livestock. 40% of the entire ice-free terrestrial landmass on Earth. If we factor in the 230 million acres of public lands used for grazing, livestock account for 90% of all land used for agriculture in the United States. Quite astounding. The reason animal agriculture creates so many sustainability problems is quite simple. It's terribly inefficient, and it wastes resources, energy, and lives. You can produce 15 times more protein, if that's what you're concerned about, from plants as you can from animals on any given area of land. Meat and dairy products require up to 100 times more water than plant-based foods, a fraction of the fossil fuel use, and plants, of course, sequester or draw down, as we've talked about, greenhouse gases rather than causing them. Let's look at just one quick example of how inefficiently we're using our agricultural land here in the United States. We're using 94 million acres for corn. 46% of that corn is fed directly to livestock, but that number is deceiving in a way because 43% is used for ethanol as fuel. So actually 82% of all the corn raised in our country that's not used for fuel is fed to livestock. 88 million acres are used for soybeans, of which 97% is fed the livestock. 52 million acres are planted in hay, which of course near 100% is fed the livestock. And if that weren't enough, another 864 million acres are used for grazing livestock on both public and private lands here in the United States. Now, just for comparison's sake, I picked out one of many, many examples of some other way to use all this land, in addition to reforesting or rewilding. Maybe we could just grow vegetables or fruit or some ancient grains for us to eat directly, such as amaranth, quinoa, kamut. So I picked out buckwheat as an example, and we're currently growing buckwheat on 27,000 acres in the United States. Sounds great. Well, buckwheat is considered somewhat of an ancient grain, but it's actually a fruit seed, not a grain. And from a human health standpoint, buckwheat offers you complete protein containing all 8 essential amino acids, and it's got a very high utilization rate, meaning your body uses 74% of the protein of buckwheat. Buckwheat is low in fat, gluten-free if you're concerned about that, packed with fiber, so it helps with insulin regulation, so it reduces the risk of diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. Has a number of antioxidants, anti-cancer items, and buckwheat has the highest levels of a substance called rutin of any food. Rutin is a very powerful anti-inflammatory agent. As a crop, growing buckwheat requires minimal water, grows in just about any type of soil, suppresses weeds, and adds nutrients to the soil. And yet, out of all the land used in the United States, used to produce food, only this much that you see on the screen here is devoted to planting and growing buckwheat. Oh, I did it again. It's pretty tiny, isn't it? You probably can't even see that number. So let me blow that up for you a little bit. There. How's that? That better? Yeah, only 0.003% of all agricultural land in the United States is used to produce buckwheat, and much of the end product is still handed over to livestock. Given all the amazing human health benefits of buckwheat and all the soil rebuilding characteristics of this plant, what percent do you think this should be? And remember, this is just one of the many examples of how we could be using our soil and water more efficiently while producing healthier foods for us to eat directly. Getting back to the human health benefits, many studies have been accomplished or are underway now that are documenting the enormous amount of phytonutrients found only in plants and all the disease prevention and treatment characteristics of these compounds. So here's just a few of the many studies related to rutin, which is only one of many phytonutrients found in buckwheat. And this is just one compound found in just one plant. There are just so many more examples that we know of and yet to be discovered that I'm sure many other presenters will be talking about in this event. Well, this statistic needed to be updated, so I did. I updated it. Livestock now produce 11 million pounds of urine and feces every 60 seconds. 11 million pounds every 60 seconds, which is 100 times more than the entire human population produces.